You know Grand Theft Auto.
Of all the times for people to decide to stop buying things, it had to be the week that Grand Theft Auto 4 comes out for Nintendo DS!
I know Grand Theft Auto.
Who's the man now? I'm gonna take his car! This is not Grand Theft Auto!
We all know Grand Theft Auto.
I went to Amazon to see if they had Grand Theft Auto 5, and it says, you might also be interested in the Blu-ray for Star Trek.
It does not need an introduction. Believe it or not, there was a time when we would get a brand new GTA every other year. But now, during the year 2022, the last time we got a new GTA game was in 2013, almost 10 years ago. So you can see why so many fans are.
I'm frustrated!
So I thought, why not just go back to where it all started and feed myself that GTA goodness, while also playing all the ones I never played before. So, welcome to Iggy Likes Games, plays every single Grand Theft Auto ever. Released back in 1997, yup, 1997, 2-year-old me hadn't even heard of video games yet. What else came out in 1997? Titanic? Final Fantasy VII? Baps? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Grand Theft Auto for the PlayStation 1. Give me your fucking car. Yeah, so in this game you can fart and burp. At least I can burp and fart whenever I want, though. That's still a plus. It's not to say the game is bad. I'm sure for the time being, an open world violent game like this had to make an impact. But it has aged like week old milk that's been out in the sun. Now this is usually the part where I go over the plot of the game, talk about the characters, their motivation, make a joke or two about a cutscene, but no, this game has no story whatsoever. You're given an objective, follow an arrow to set objective, and then get points. These controls are clunky as hell. They're like a mix of Resident Evil and Heavy Rain. Use a D-pad to spin your character around, and then you hold the X button to walk in the direction you're facing. You can't run, which leads to a lot of frustrating segments where you need a vehicle, but everyone just fucking drives away. We need 2 yellow cabs for a bank job. Bring them to the docks in New Guernsey. A cab! There it is! Stop! Stop! Please! Please! Take the car! Take the cab! The driving is decent once you get the hang of it. It's honestly not too difficult, but the lack of a map makes it feel frustrating when the arrow is pointing you in a certain direction and you follow the arrow only for it to lead to a body of water. And you can't swim in this game, so you better go back and find another route to your destination. What is this? I can't go there. What is that? Mother made supper. Oh, we don't want that. Where am I? Why? Why does everything look like a pool? What's going on here? I don't know what to do. The arrow's gone. Dude, what am I supposed to do? The fucking arrow's gone. I don't... Dude, I'm gonna fucking blow up. Oh, should it... down here? I kind of feel like it's down here. No. Oh! One thing I was surprised to see was that Vice City, Liberty City, and San Andreas were all in this game. This is the box that it's in. As you can see, it's fucking, damn. Fucking sick. It has a unique zooming top-down view, baby. 16.7 million colors. That's an actual fucking point on the box, bitch. We got colors. This is the map, right? It's super tiny. Like, it feels incomplete. Like, it feels like a chunk's been ripped off, right? Like, this is the booklet and shit. You got Vice City. What the fuck? You got fucking Liberty City and San Andreas. What the fuck? Dude, instead of stars to represent the wanted level, you get these little talking heads in the middle of the screen. They seem kind of pointless because even when I would have 4 or 5, the amount of cops or their aggressiveness never really seemed to change. 2 years later, Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto London, which isn't a game on its own. It actually became known as the very first add-on pack for any PlayStation game. Now, I'm playing the PlayStation 1 game on a PS3, and in order to get London to work, I need to put in the original disc, load it up, then I need to take out that disc and put in the London disc, wait for that to load, and then when prompted, take out that disc and once again put in the original disc, and then bam!
Welcome to London!
Honestly, this is the exact same game with very little in terms of improvements. The graphics are the same, the controls are the same, and the music is still really good. While I ended up growing really frustrated with the original game's overly complicated maps and constant dead ends, I found myself smoothly navigating through the London streets and passing missions with ease. There's also a bit more story here. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still no actual story, but missions actually feel like they have more of a purpose, more of a flow. Where the original was just so someone calling you a shithead and telling you to steal a car and drop it off, this game has you interrogate a drug dealer to find a supplier, and then steal the bike of those suppliers to lure them out, and once they're lured out, hunt them down and finish them off. The lack of a run button especially hurt during some of these missions, since you're meant to chase down and kill several targets who run way faster than you, and it just leads to these long, quiet stretches of frustrating silence as you hope to get close enough to shoot your target, but then you need to struggle with the actual shooting controls as every bullet slowly misses your target, who then runs off screen, and the whole process is repeated once more. With all that being said, you gotta put respect where respect is due. If it wasn't for this messy, kinda boring, clunky game, we wouldn't have GTA as we have it now. So while I can't say I like this game very much, I can see the importance of it, and I'm glad it exists. Gold star for Grand Theft Auto. It's going at the bottom of the list, with London going right on top, though, sorry. But now it's time for Grand Theft Auto 2, and it better be better than part 1 or I'm gonna hurt someone. You know what? This is actually a lot better. We get this epic live action intro setting up the story. Again, no real story. It's more of just run around and do missions for characters, but this time you get a sleep meter, a happy meter, and a zipper meter. These are actually the 3 different gangs and your current standing with them. If the meter is too far to the left, then you're hostile with that gang and they will shoot you on sight. If the meter is to the right, then you can work for these gangs and do missions for them, and they'll even step in while you're running around and provide cover fire for you should you need it. You have an actual health bar this time around, and the cops are still represented by bumbling heads. Overall, I think this game looks decent. The cars are much sharper, and I personally find it way easier to navigate around the map this time. And because of the improved controls, I actually had a lot of fun this time. What? You now walk much faster, shooting feels more precise. It's not that different, but they made the spinning around smoother, so it's easier to land shots. The driving feels much better, and I could actually drive around without blowing up the car instantly. For the most part. This time we get these little heads telling us what to do, and it's terrifying. On one hand, this scary ass head is telling me to kidnap a gang leader and torture him, but on the other hand, he's doing it with Banjo-Kazooie voice effects. The truth is, it's hard to talk about this game and know what to say when it's honestly just more of the same as the previous one, but with slightly better visuals and slightly better controls. There's no story. The music is personally nothing memorable in this one. I wasn't a fan of it, and at times it even gave me a headache. What the fuck is this? This was it. This was the big one. This was where Grand Theft Auto showed us that it could in fact push the boundaries and become an iconic, nay, a revolution in modern gaming. And well... Dude! Why'd you take so long to get in the fucking car? Get in the car! Get in the car! Get in the car! It hasn't aged well. Don't get me wrong, I love this game. Even writing this script, I can't say I hated the experience, but wow, did it test my patience and push me to my mental limits throughout. They are awesome. No! What the fuck? And it's not that the game's hard, because if we're being honest, it's not. All the objectives and obstacles you're put through are very much attainable. But what really holds this game back are the horrible dated controls. Oh no! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the fucking car! Bitch. No! What does that mean? But first, let's look at the plot. The game starts off with a bank robbery with a protagonist Claude, his girlfriend Catalina, and the third person Miguel are escaping the cops before Claude is shot by Catalina and left for dead. Instead, he's arrested, and while in transport, the cartel break out one of their own, and you and your new friend 8-Ball are able to escape. From there, the game pretty much becomes meet new character, do a bunch of missions for the character, move on to a new character. And this never changes as far as future entries go, but while later games had a huge cast of colorful, entertaining, three-dimensional characters with whole story arcs, the characters you meet in this game are kind of boring and really uninteresting, and don't even get me started on the voice acting.
If you have a unique commodity, the world and his wife will try to wrestle it from your grasp, even if they have little understanding as to its true value.
As for the rest of the story, well, it's very early Grand Theft Auto, so these uninteresting characters just give you these crazy arcade-like missions, and for the first half of the game, these missions are a lot of fun. There's the famous mission where you put a bomb in a car and blow this guy up. Unless you're potato punks and you somehow mess up.
Car back in its correct position.
My personal favorite, one of the scariest missions I've ever played in a Rockstar game, there's this phone booth, right, where this unknown gang leader is giving you missions to see if he can trust you, and eventually he sends you to this parking lot to pick up a package, but it's a trap, and we get these crazy ass dudes with bombs strapped to their chest. They were sent by Catalina. This mission is, I was not expecting this. This was terrifying.
Special delivery.
What the fuck?
Come to daddy.
What the fuck? I'm scared. Yo, get me out of the cutscene! I'm scared! Oh my god! The hell? Oh! Oh no! Get out! Yo, this is scary! Ah, this is scary! Nah, what the hell? Oh, run! Oh fuck, I'm sorry. That was fucking terrifying. There's so much creativity in so many of these missions that it's such a shame that for every fantastic and fun mission, there's 2 tedious and extremely boring missions. This really became a problem during the second half, where I was given these long ass missions that dragged way too long, and the smallest mistake meant driving all the way back to the mission giver and having to replay the entire mission again. There's this mission where you need to go to the first island and steal 1 car from each gang there and drive it all the way back to the second island. And it's not that it's the worst mission, but when so many of the best missions in this game deliver these fast-paced, intense chases and shootouts and creative thinking, having a mission that just has you quietly drive back and forth dropping off a series of cars is just not fun. There's this mission where we need to get this guy to an airport, but you can't take the bridge, so you need to find your own way to the airport. We're gonna take a boat. We're gonna take a boat. There are boats. Ugh. Oh! Get in. What are you doing? Get in the fucking boat. What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna wait for him. I'm gonna sprint. Look at that water. That is not okay. Turn slowly and get in the boat. Get in the boat! Get in the boat! Which led me pulling out the map and planning a whole route to the airport. Ta-da! I haven't seen this in a long time. Look how cool that looks. Wow. So, my goal here is, if you look on the first map, can you see, where is it? Look at that guy. Hey, put that away. That street is a tunnel. That road is a tunnel. And it goes, if my calculations are correct, it should come out here. I'm pointing right there. I know you can't really see it, but there's a little, that right there is like a tunnel. Like it goes into the world. Why would it be there? This is where Grand Theft Auto 3 really shines as a revolutionary game it's seen as. Having these missions where the game is like, hey, kill this guy, get this guy here, however you want, do what you gotta do, is what it's all about. A perfect example is when I had to kill Salvatore, but I had to find the right way to kill him. Move! Perfect. Is he running? Is he gonna be running out now? No! You bitch! No! Oh my god! Okay, I gotta get on the sidewalk. Kill him! Oh! The game rewards experimentation by just giving you the freedom to do what you want, and when you pass the mission, you get the sense of, yes, I did that. I was struggling with the final boss in this game, which is you trying to blow up Catalina's airplane before she escapes, and like a time limit, you gotta get past these guys. I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna use cheat codes, but only during the final battle, and finish this game once and for all. That's satisfying. That, I'm having fun, and if that's not what video games are about, fuck it, if I still fail this mission, where is she? Where is she? Shoot her! Yes! Yes! Because that was satisfying. That was. Are you still gonna shoot me? Fuck you. Just a year later, Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and to many people, this was it. This was the perfect GTA experience, even to this day. And how do I feel about it?
It's beautiful.
You play as Tommy Vercetti, who was sent to Vice City by Sonny to oversee a drug deal that goes wrong. The drugs and the money are taken, and Sonny tells Tommy he better get that money back and find out who's behind the ambush. After this, we're free to cause destruction and get the money back while investigating who's really behind the deal gone wrong. The story for Vice City sets up a strong conflict and continues to develop through almost each mission, since there's an actual thing to get to the bottom of. Tommy is also a really strong protagonist. On top of a fantastic performance, he doesn't just say yes to every crazy task he's given like Claude did. He questions the people around him. He questions the people leading him, and it makes him interesting because you know this is a person with his own goals, his own mission. On top of an intriguing story setup, we also have a ton of really interesting side characters. Ken Rosenberg is always anxious and overwhelmed, but keeps the pace quick. Lance is my personal favorite and quickly gains Tommy's trust as his brother was killed during the ambush, and he also wants to find out who was behind it. There's this cowboy guy who talks about real estate. He's kind of boring, and he's like one of the only weak characters. Kent Paul is over the top British, and I love him. Juan Garcia acts way too nice to Tommy and was one of the ones in charge of the deal, and I immediately suspected him because of his over-the-top niceness. There's also Diaz, another one of those Trevor and Catalina types where he's just a crazy psychotic mess, and I mean, he's entertaining. You can't help but like the scenes he's in because he's funny and crazy.
Bro, you! It is my favorite El Burro movie. It died. What else can I do?
It's probably not plugged in.
What? Damn.
The missions here are also varied and a ton of fun. You've got missions where you need to watch over drug deals that obviously go wrong. There's this mission where you need to kill this guy playing golf, and I got rid of any of his escape routes. On-rail shooting missions that are admittedly a lot of fun because the controls are a bit more improved than the ones in the game before this 3, you know, that one. The mission where you steal a fucking tank. Steal the tank? I didn't even fucking read that. Just another day in Vice City. So we find out pretty early on that Diaz was behind the ambush, and we work to gain his trust too, but Lance tries to kill him and gets himself captured. We save him, and the boys have a scuffle over Lance's carelessness. Oh my god, get out! Lance, get out! Bro, get out! Lance, get out! This is why nobody can get mad at me for using cheat codes in these games, because they're gonna be like, you're cheating your way through the game. Bitch, I'm cheating and I'm still fucking struggling. So obviously this is just to make it a little bit more possible, because without the cheats, that mission I would be driving back and forth way more than I'm probably going to. This is probably going to be the only time I fucking drive back. But if it wasn't for the cheats, you know, if there weren't any cheats, I would be driving back and forth a lot, and this would be stupid, and this video would be canceled. I wouldn't even want to do it. With Diaz now aware of this plan, Tommy and Lance immediately head to his mansion to kill him and take his mansion for themselves. And bada bing bada boom, the man behind the ambush is dead. Tommy and Lance are now in control. The end? Question mark? No. You see, Sonny hears about this takeover and keeps reminding Tommy to cut him a slice of the fucking pie. And this is where the second half of the game starts. Now, while the first half was about gaining trust, making connections, and doing these weird favors, the second half is about buying property and making that property profitable. And I actually think this is the part where the game's fun factor skyrockets. You buy this taxi business and the missions focus on taking down a rival taxi company. You buy this film studio and the missions are focused on recruiting fitting actors for fun time films. My personal favorite is when you buy the Malibu Club and the missions are you finding a group of people to help you pull off a bank heist. The missions themselves are decent, but the bank heist itself is a lot of fun, even when the AI wants to work against you.
I got you covered.
What the fuck? Why'd he die? Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car! Why'd you guys get out of the fucking car? Get in the fucking car. Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car. Oh, get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. I'll get back in this car. Get in the car! Why aren't you in the car? Why are you walking? Why are you walking? Are you in? I can't tell. Dude, they're not gonna fucking paint and spray this. They're not. He refuses. We're gonna get in this car. Fucking fat Phil. Fucking Phil! And there I go. Now, after building an empire, Sonny has a mental breakdown and shows up at Tommy's mansion where we face off against him Scarface style. On the other side of this, Lance has been slowly growing resentful and unappreciated by Tommy, the man he once looked up to. And by the end of the game, when Lance betrays Tommy, it actually feels earned since we saw them build a friendship and also watched it slowly fall apart. Once we kill Sonny and Lance and their goons, the game just kinda ends. And sure, the ending itself isn't special at all, but this game is a perfect example of that one saying, it's not about the journey, it's about the destination. No, it's about the destination, not about the journey. Wait, no, what the fuck? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. There you go. Vice City is significantly smaller than Liberty City, but the story is well written, the characters are mostly all interesting, the gameplay is significantly improved, although the shooting is still really clunky, let's be clear here. And then there's the music. Oh my god, the music is perfect. Now, GTA 3 had really good music. There's a lot of songs that I grew up loving and I still love, but there's only one word to explain Vice City's music, and it's perfect. I can't actually play any of it due to copyright laws, but it really feels like a collection of the best of the 80s for every genre, and I love it. It's so nostalgic to me. There's a reason Vice City is seen by so many people as the perfect GTA experience, and while it's not my all-time favorite, it's definitely the best one so far. But how about we leave the sun-soaked streets of Vice City and we take a trip to the sunset-soaked streets of San Andreas. Yeah, you like that? You like that fucking segue? The year is 2004. 9-year-old me is anxiously pacing in his bedroom waiting for his parents to come home from the game store with a copy of the new GTA San Andreas, the single most exciting thing. My parents walked through the door, GameStop bag in hand. They pass it to me and I open the bag and I pull it out. Katamari Damacy. It isn't all bad news. Katamari is a great series and a game I grew up absolutely loving everything about thanks to this day. But the rush of sadness in the moment of not seeing San Andreas took over, and I quietly asked my parents why. Why didn't I get San Andreas? To which they told me,
because of all the sex, drugs, cussing, and fornication.
But soon enough, I finally got my hands on a copy of GTA San Andreas. I stole it from a neighbor when I was 10, and I finally learned what it was like to truly experience perfection. From the gameplay, the characters, the music, the story, it's just, I've played through this game more times than I can fucking count. San Andreas stars Carl Johnson, aka CJ, who moved to Liberty City after the death of his brother Brian. While he's in Liberty City, he gets news that his mom had died in a drive-by, so he makes his way back to San Andreas to be with his remaining family, his brother Sweet and his sister Kendall. But once he arrives, he realizes things in his hometown are in bad shape, and he's got to put things in order while dealing with a corrupt police force, a rising drug epidemic, and some less than loyal friends. This was the first video game I played with a story that really gripped me, and I was 10 years old. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but replaying through San Andreas for the first time as an adult was a truly eye-opening experience in that this game is still a fucking masterpiece. San Andreas takes everything that made Vice City so much fun and ramps it as far up as it can go. The world is huge, but it's filled with life and things to see and do. Why go outside and watch the sunset when you can do it in San Andreas? Why go to the gym when you can do it in San Andreas? Why eat until you throw up when you can do it in San Andreas? You can get haircuts, you can go dancing, show off your lowrider, you can buy businesses and build them up, you can customize CJ's clothing, you can go to the liquor store. Revolutionary gameplay, and sometimes you can just stand there and watch a crazy situation just play out in front of you. This guy's been trying to get out of this little corner for the past like 2 minutes. And I'm just watching him slowly run people over as they try to get through. I should move my car, is what I should do. I'm the problem here. Oh my god. That guy in the middle, run, get out of there. Oh shit. Oh, the ambulance. We're safe. Never a dull moment in fucking San Andreas, really. Oh my god. What is happening? What CJ does and who he is, it's entirely up to you. This time around, there's these meters that you can increase or decrease depending on how you play the game. Respect is earned by doing story missions, while stamina and muscle can increase or decrease depending on how often you go to the gym, what workouts you do, or how much you eat. And then there's sex appeal.
What that for?
That's for sex.
Huh?
That's for sex.
Oh. Yeah, nasty!
But it doesn't stop there. Each weapon comes with its own ranking as well. The more you use a certain weapon, the better you'll be at using it. Same goes for driving, swimming, flying, and so on. There's even driving and flying schools to attend, and while these missions suck, it's cool that these are even here. The characters are also all memorable, every single one. Even the ones that follow the Rockstar trend of making me yell, Catalina, get in the car. Get in the car, honey. Get in the car. Get in the car! What are you doing? Oh my god, get in the fucking car. Why does this happen with every game? CJ himself is to this day my favorite GTA protagonist. He starts the game off as arrogant, selfish, and honestly kinda dumb. But as the story progresses and he sees the people around him for what they truly are, he becomes a genuinely good person who is doing what he does for the betterment of those around him. And that's on top of already being funny and witty. And the same goes for the supporting characters. Sweet is like this hurt but tough caring older brother. Kendall is the more open-minded and intelligent of the group. Big Smoke and Ryder are two-faces pieces of shit, but they're also so damn likable. And Crash are so extremely unlikable with fantastic performances by Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Penn that you can't help but love to hate them. Caesar shows up, and while CJ and him have a rough starting patch, they soon become best friends with some of the best chemistry in gaming that I kind of want a spin-off game of them solving crimes. And then there's Big Smoke's twin brother. The game just throws one memorable mission after another, sneaking into people's houses to steal their shit, really fun shootouts in tight hallways with improved shooting controls. You can ride a fucking bike. And the further you get, the more the game just keeps throwing at you. Ah! Why did you hit me? Whoa! What? Where did that come from? Are you fucking kidding me? Ah! And knowing that Rockstar Games had gotten so good at their craft with this title, I can't help but be excited with where the series is gonna go next. What milestones will it reach? What secrets will it hold? What revolution will it start? Oh, okay. I really want to defend this game. On one hand, it's fucking Grand Theft Auto on the Game Boy Advance. That's pretty sick. But on the other hand, it's really fucking boring gameplay wise. The game itself is played from a top-down perspective like the first two games. The big difference here being that the controls aren't dog shit. The driving is solid, shooting and running around is responsive and easy. The controls here work really well. Too bad they're not any fun. I'm not gonna lie, after the first half hour I was already thinking like, okay, I think I've seen all there is to see here. Then I was like, I'm just gonna YouTube what happens because the story's interesting. It also doesn't help that I'm playing this right after San Andreas, which is like my all-time favorite GTA. Also, this game came out the exact same day that San Andreas came out, which is really weird, but okay, sure. The music is really repetitive and boring. Yeah, this is definitely a rough game, but the game itself is canon to the GTA lore, and if there's any compliments I can give, the story is pretty fucking legit. You play as Mike in Liberty City a year before GTA 3 and his best friend Vinny. They're committing crimes for a bunch of gangs so they can save money up and leave Liberty City together. But before they can run away together, Vinny is killed and Mike begins his quest for revenge against the mystery assassin. But 8-Ball comes back, and if you know me, you know the only thing I love more than 2 balls are 8.
You don't get to call me a whore.
Near the end of the story, Vinny shows up magically. He's not fucking dead. What? Gasp. He tells Mike that he faked his own death so that he could leave on his own and take the money with him. Which, I'm not gonna lie, for a game that looks like this plot twist actually had me go,
You used me for land development.
Mike kills Vinny, but this causes all the gangs to go after Mike because now Mike has the big bag of money that they had saved up. There's a huge shootout and Daddy 8-Ball helps us escape, but during the shootout he injures his hands and he gets arrested, and bam, GTA 3 begins. As a Game Boy Advance game, this is impressive, but as a GTA game that came out the same day as San Andreas, well, I mean, we're not done with Liberty City just yet. Not even close, because the next game takes place 2 years before GTA Advance. What? Oh, prequels upon prequels. I don't know how to feel about the stories entries in the series. On one hand, Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories were the next GTA games after San Andreas, so I can't help but have these expectations through the roof. On the other hand, these are games that originally released on the PSP, so how amazing could these be? And these controls are fantastic. They feel like a smoother version of San Andreas controls, except now you're in Liberty City, which is just as great because you get to because it's Liberty City, there's nostalgia attached to that, and they know that. But now you get the gameplay of San Andreas, which it makes the missions so much more fun. And the missions themselves are once again a batch of just fun, destructive missions. Like at this point, it feels like Rockstar has really mastered how to make a fun mission, and that's especially apparent in this game. Like there's this mission where you get ambushed on the dogs and you need to shoot your way out. This mission where you need to kill this chef guy by hunting him down around this meat factory, cutting him up and delivering him to the butcher shop. Like a mission where you need to defend this building from trucks with bombs in them. This one's fucking great. While the gameplay and the missions are all a lot of fun, the story itself is kind of It's not bad by any means. I mean, Rockstar at this point knows how to tell a great story, and they do what they can here. The problem is that Tony himself is not interesting of a character at all, and I already stated that I don't really find anybody in GTA 3 interesting to begin with outside of Catalina and 8-Ball, so that doesn't help here. I mean, there are parts of the story that I enjoy. For example, a good part of the game revolves around Tony trying to get his mom's approval because she's like super negative about him and she kind of wishes that he didn't exist, so he's gonna go get his approval because she's like, hey, that one chef guy, he's more of a man than you'll ever be. So in order to prove her wrong, we go take pictures of him in a diaper chasing girls in a forest. But then we show her the pictures and she's like, bro, why are you taking pictures of grown men in diapers? And that's a pretty funny mission. So really all there is to talk about here is the gameplay and how quick and how good it is. It's interesting to see how the Leone, I don't know how the fucking family grows to be one of the most powerful crime families in the city, but overall the events definitely feel like filler for the most part throughout this one. And a year later, we got Vice City Stories, a prequel to Vice City, and what a fucking game. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was gonna be just more of the same as Liberty City Stories, so I kind of just wanted to get it over with, but what a game. The story here is even better than Liberty City Stories. It feels like San Andreas, Liberty City Stories, but just more refined, more smooth. The hand-to-hand combat here is significantly improved, with there now being combos and grappling attacks and counters. The driving and the music are at their best. You play as Victor Vance, brother of Lance Vance. Now we know Victor Vance dies at the start of Vice City, so instead of doing what Liberty City Stories did and just showing us how the characters around Tony, or in this case Vance, got around to where they are in kind of an uninteresting way, this decides to make us care about Victor Vance as an interesting character. He starts off in the army, but is dishonorably discharged thanks to Sergeant Jerry Martinez, who made him hide drugs and give prostitutes rides and so on. After this, we need to build our way up, and the characters around Vic are really interesting too. I really like the arc he has with this one lady who, if I remember, is pregnant. I know she has a kid, but I don't know if she's pregnant. I'm not sure, but she's in an abusive relationship, and while at first Vic is just like a pedestrian to the situation, he ends up forming a bond with her, and I'm surprised at how maturely they handle the topic. Like when she's first being abused, she's like,
I was too busy watching you threaten your wife.
Well, we was only playing around, boy.
He didn't mean nothing by it. He only hits me when I deserve it.
But then when she's alone with Vic and then she admits that she talks about herself that way because if not, it's gonna anger him and he's gonna hit her even more, and then you're like,
what's wrong?
Nothing. Everything. It's bullshit. I mean, I'm a fucking mess. Didn't finish high school. Got a kid by a goddamn prick. Living on my sister's couch. No hope.
But gameplay wise, this game adds this empire building mechanic, which is a mix of the gang wars from San Andreas and the property buying from Vice City. You take over a business, you do missions to increase its values, and you need to protect it afterwards from rival gangs. Every business has its own kind of gameplay loop in terms of like how you take over the business or how the business itself works, and I like that. I like that it's not just all the same thing. They all have missions to them, and all the missions kind of focus on a different thing, very much like Vice City, but with way better controls, way better combat, and just a lot more, what's the word, progression. It always feels like you're doing something, you're always getting something done, you're always making money for yourself. Honestly, there's not much more to say about Liberty City Stories or Vice City Stories. They're both fucking amazing games, but they do feel like more of the same. And I gotta admit, it was at this point where, as much as I love these games, I was kind of feeling the series wear on me, and I was starting to get bored of it. I mean, if only the next entry could change things up enough to keep me—
Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Bruh. When I first played GTA 4 back when it came out, I hated it. The controls for the cars, the sluggish heavy walking controls, the clunky feeling shooting, the boring story. What the fuck was wrong with me? GTA 4 is a breath of fresh air with the most alive feeling world and the most responsive and deepest gameplay in the series so far. Deepest gameplay? Deepest gameplay. What the fuck did I mean when I wrote that? These scripts, I just be writing words. This one stars Nico Bellic, an Eastern European coming to Liberty City for a better life since his cousin Roman has told him of the perfect life he lives. Once he gets there, he learns that Roman is full of shit and is actually struggling to pay off some dangerous criminals, and considering Nico has a dark history of killing and violence, well, you got yourself a plot. And aside from San Andreas, this is GTA at its best. At first the game hits you with some dark shit, but always balances it out with some humor.
Or
is where the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other. Maybe that is no excuse. Roman? Roman! Are you sleeping, you fat fuck? Come on!
Nico himself is a standout protagonist. He fought in the war and is coming to Liberty City with the intention of wanting to leave violence in his past, but he constantly finds himself in moral dilemmas and also doesn't stop running people over.
Evolution.
Everything feels so okay. Roman is hilarious and I genuinely gave a shit about him, which sucks because man, this dude goes through it. Nico controls way heavier than previous protagonists and all the cars have much heavier handling. It's my understanding that we're going for a more realistic approach, and you know what? I love it. Even though I didn't love it as a child, I love it now. Maybe it's because I just needed something different after playing more than 200 hours of GTA over the past 4 months, or maybe I'm just more mature as a gamer, but the handling in this game works perfectly for what it is. As for Nico himself, on one hand, while regularly running around, it does feel a bit too heavy at times, but during shootouts, this gameplay works at its best. You're encouraged to take cover, and yes, there is finally a cover system, and the heavier controls do so much more during these situations. You feel more in control of Nico than in previous games, being able to time when to poke your head out and shoot, running from cover point to cover point and slowly taking your time taking out these enemies. Every shootout feels intense and like some big epic moment. On one hand, sure, it feels a bit slower and tankier, but on the other hand, every bullet, every explosion, every car crash feels so impactful. It makes even the smallest shootouts so satisfying and memorable, especially when the open world is at its most chaotic. No way. Who's shooting? What's happening?
Get in the car, just get in the car, get in the car.
But because the mission's here.
Get in the car.
No.
You're gonna die.
Oh fuck yeah, I get free weapons, dude. Oh! To start, press X to dodge. Okay, well, I should actually learn this. Oh, I already. Oh, tap X to dodge and press triangle or circle to disarm. Oh! Oh shit! Oh, it's 2 in the morning. Oops. I called Michelle to go on a date, but it's 2 in the morning, so she was like, "I'm asleep." Oops. Yeah. I'm gonna go fuck a prostitute. No, I'm not. Nico Bellic wouldn't do that. Nico Bellic's a good guy. Oh! What the fuck? Dude, I didn't.
tried to get gas. It don't work that way.
If I have any real complaints, well, it will be towards the world itself. Sure, there are many things to do and these things are all fun, but this is supposed to be Liberty City, right? So why is it literally just New York? I mean, I get it. Liberty City is supposed to be New York, a satire of New York at least, but in previous games, Liberty City not only felt like a reflection of New York, but it felt like New York with its own identity. In this game, I can't even say Liberty City feels like Liberty City because it doesn't. It just feels like New York. It's still an amazing open world and I love it. It's just a personal opinion that I wish the city itself had its own identity while parodying the city instead of just being that city. But still, even when I was done with it, I didn't want to be done with it. Well, good thing we're not even remotely close to done with it because soon enough, Rockstar released not 1, but 2 DLCs within Liberty City, and spoiler alert, they're fucking perfect. I gotta be honest here, I wasn't looking forward to playing this one. It just never captured my interest. I was worried the story would be too slow paced, or the characters would be way too tough guy, big buff guy, and on top of all that, I already hate how the biker gang bikes control in the GTA series in general, so I was dreading it. And if I can describe my experience with this game in one clip, it would be... Yeah, so I fucking love this game. So the game opens up with Billy, leader of the biker gang, the Lost, leaving rehab. It could be jail, it could be both, I'm not too sure, but it's definitely one of the two. We ride back to our clubhouse and the game encourages you to stay information, but it's funny because the AI always struggles to stay information, which leads to... So in this one you play as Johnny. He's cool, I really like his character, and I hope nothing bad happens to him in some future installment. He genuinely cares about the gang and those around him, but he also wants to see some changes made for the betterment of those around him, which leads to a lot of tension with Billy, who's very old school and resorts to some violent tactics that even Johnny disagrees with. From the moment these two are first together on screen, there's immediately this history, this tension, but still a friendship, question mark. Billy gets mad because his bike was stolen and Johnny hasn't gotten it back yet. Like, bro, that's your bike, what the fuck, I don't like you, whatever, we drive together to get the bike, and boom, boom, bang, sick fucking shootout, we got the bike. Well, this game does this cool thing where you're encouraged to stay information, because there's this little thing, if you stay inside of it, you get health back, and it'll even give you some armor back as well, which is pretty cool, because this game's constantly just bang, boom, boom, shootouts. See all these characters around you? Well, here's the downside. They're not really all that interesting. The problem is that if someone in your gang dies, then they get replaced by a different gang member of the gang, and those blue bars here represent how good they are during shootouts to get better. It's a great idea, but it does come out at the expense of getting to know the characters or really caring about them, because if one dies, you know, well, I mean, he's going to be replaced anyway. But it's fine, because honestly, what you're given here are some of the most fun missions I've ever played through in any GTA. Every single mission, every fucking mission ends with this huge shootout, and with the already perfect shooting controls from GTA 4, you just get oh my god, it's Nico. So yeah, the story for this DLC and the main game cross paths at several points, and I love it. Nico doesn't play too big of a role in terms of Johnny's personal story, but he's here. He's definitely here. Then we're introduced to Ashley and Johnny, and these two have some like romantic tension. Then we're introduced to Ashley and Johnny, and these two have some romantic tension, but it's also kind of sad, because Ashley's story was with drug addiction, and this is another thing Rockstar does. Sure, The Lost and the Damned is easily the darkest entry in the series, but there's still some solid comedic moments and writing in the world, and the characters, and the dialogue. Everything with Ashley, on the other hand, it feels very real, and heartbreaking, and kind of hopeless, and like something out of a fucking Breaking Bad episode or Sons of Anarchy. I don't know, I've never watched it. Eventually a deal goes wrong and the police show up almost immediately and arrest Billy, who convinces half of the Lost that Johnny betrayed them and called the cops, but in reality it was actually Billy who was working in the shady behind the scenes, but we're not supposed to know that yet. Shh. From here the story really takes off as the Lost falls apart and the members start clashing and choosing between either Billy or Johnny, and after tons more shootouts we get the ending where Johnny kills Billy in prison, and in a straight up heartbreaking scene he calls Ashley to tell her that Billy is dead, and then she responds like, okay, that's cool, can I have $40, bro? I need like drugs. And Johnny's like, bro, I'm sorry, go kill yourself on your own. God damn, I am a broken man. It's kind of crazy that this is the one I was the most excited to play, and turns out it's the one that I have the least amount of things to say, just because I was able to let out most of what I have to say in the previous two entries. But it always looked like this colorful, crazy adventure, and that's exactly what it is. I love this one, and after playing Lost and the Damned, that one became my favorite, and I was thinking, maybe the Ballad of Gay Tony won't hit as good as I was hoping. Nah, this shit slaps. You play as Luis, who is basically like this bodyguard and best friend to Gay Tony, the most prominent nightclub owner of Liberty City, who was trying to get himself and Tony to riches, and out of some trouble with some less than favorable friends. The story here is completely different than what Lost and the Damned and the original go for. This one is a much lighter, even comedic tone, and it's honestly a really good balance after playing through so much dark emo stuff. So the game opens up during the bank robbery from part 4. On his way, he meets up with Tony, and the two head out to check on the club. It's this dancing minigame that rewards us with some pussy. We stop troublemakers outside the club, who are just two of Luis's childhood friends. Luis goes to visit his mom, and I love this. They actually show like the struggling relationship between the two, since his mom is like, you need to do something with your life, mijo. You disappoint me. Meanwhile, she's still like, but also you got that money you made from like selling drugs and killing people. And it's not played for laughs. There are some genuinely dramatic moments that are pulled off with like what they're going for, and it's like, bam, this is peak Rockstar writing, besides Red Dead 2, which is one of the most perfect stories ever made for a video game, but that's another video. Anyway, there's this fight club thing Luis partakes in, and then we need to torture this guy by hitting him with golf balls, and then bam, a shootout, and then bam, pew, 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 shootout, and then an intense chase scene, but we're in golf carts. That's cool. Then the game becomes shootouts one after another, and these are all so much fun, and it's not just the still fantastic controls, but while 4 and Lost and the Damned had these grounded, very heavy, realistic shootouts, the ones in Gay Tony are like out of a high budget action scene. Go on top of insanely high buildings and shoot your fucking way, getting higher and higher off the building until you jump off the said building. These intense shootouts in nightclubs with loud ass techno music, adding so much to the scene. There's this part where we throw this guy out of a chopper, and then we need to catch him before he hits the ground. The Ballad of Gay Tony takes every single chance it has to make this feel so over the top and wild, and just match the overall vibe of the story. GTA 4 with the DLC feels like this gigantic experience with so much experimentation, and it pulls off almost all of it perfectly, and in my opinion, I'm so excited to see where it goes. Oh my god, it's a fucking handheld.
Whoa, we run these streets like a renegade. Hit that guap to the renters pay.
Ah, jeez, another top-down handheld GTA. You know what? This one is actually lit. Now, I'd be lying if I said I knew what the story was at all. I don't know the story here. I honestly don't care for it. I'm sorry, die-hard Chinatown Wars fans. But at this point, I spent so much time in Liberty City that I get it. We're here to cause crime and make the rent prices go down. It's okay, I get it. With that being said, the gameplay is as perfect as it gets for a top-down handheld game. So, I own the DS version of this game, but I don't currently own a DS, so I decided to play it on my phone, like Jesus intended. And dude, I don't play mobile games that often. I kinda just play a bunch of Minion Rush, but damn, these controls, they're so smooth, and the driving is super responsive, and the shooting is arcadey but fun, and forget all that. This is a game with touchscreen capabilities, and those are used in the best ways. When you drive into the water, you tap the screen to break the glass and get out of the car. You need to hotwire a car? You better do that your damn self. You need some Molotov cocktails? You better get your ass to the gas station and fill up the bottles and put the little towel. Do it your damn self. Need a weapon? Well, there's these red dumpsters everywhere that you can look inside and maybe find a secret gun after moving the trash. Your damn self. Might even find a special happy fun time toy. There's this mini game where you can give tattoos to people, and there's so much more. But one of the big deals of this game, and one of my favorite things about it, is the drug dealing mini game. See, scattered around Liberty City are all these hard-working individuals called drug dealers, and you yourself can partake in the drug dealing by finding one of these drug dealers and dealing drugs, as they say. You can buy a specific drug for a low price and hold on to it until you get an email letting you know of a drug dealer who's buying that specific drug for a high price, and then you go sell it and you make just a desk of money.
A desk? Where are you getting these units of measurement from?
Mary.
I actually love how the cop system in this game works. So instead of just outrunning the cops, you got these little cop cars right here under the stars. You see them? Well, those are the amount of cop cars that you need to destroy to lose 1 star. And it adds this layer of progression to the chases, and it kind of makes it feel like a little boss fight, if that makes sense. And it never gets old, because it's entirely up to your own skill. It's not just about, okay, I'm just going to drive around until I see the star flashing. No, now it's about, I want to take these motherfuckers down with me. I really don't have that much else to say about these games. Top-down GTA games are kind of just like really easy to talk about and get out of the way real quick, which kind of sucks because I do want to say more about this game, but I just don't have that much more to say. Maybe if I pay attention to the story. Oh well. Chinatown Wars is fucking cool. Here it is.
The big one.
The one everyone is fucking tired of. Let's be honest here, guys, gals, and non-binary friends. If we just ignore the fact that this game has been released more times than Skyrim over the last 10 years, then it's an amazing fucking game in its own right. I don't think I need to go over the story at this point. We know Trevor, we know Michael, we know Franklin. With all that being said, the story isn't the best. In fact, overall, this might be one of my least favorite stories in the series. There are parts that I think are great. I love Michael and his annoying-ass family. Their personalities are absolutely infuriating, but they bounce off each other so perfectly. Franklin and Lamar are hilarious and entertaining together. And Trevor, I mean, yeah, Trevor's chaotic, but I think they kind of overdo it to where it's so chaotic you're just kind of, The reason I like Michael and Franklin so much is because they're surrounded by chaos, and while they too partake in it, we mainly get to see them reacting to it all falling apart around them. It makes us connect to them and be pulled in and really take things as they unfold around us. Trevor, on the other hand, just spends all of his time yelling and killing and threatening, and sure, it has its moments, but after a while, it's just kinda Some of my favorite moments with Trevor are when we get to see his actual human side. Seeing him first meet Michael in his home is really just a top gaming story moment that balances the tension and the humor perfectly. The scene in the cemetery when Trevor finds Brad's body is another perfect moment, but these moments are too far between these over-exaggerated moments of insanity that, yes, I get is the point of the game, it's the point of the character, but it also becomes too much personally, and it's more of just you grow numb to it and you're just kind of doing it by the numbers. But the gameplay here is at its best when it works. The vehicle controls are extremely fine-tuned and satisfying, almost arcade-like. The gunplay is responsive, whether you're in third person or first person, which you can go in first person now, and it's just so fun, it works so well. You can finally customize your clothes San Andreas style, with the level up meters also coming back, which it's a huge plus. This is everything I want in GTA in one huge package. Which takes me to my first real big negative. The missions here, when they work, they are at their absolute best. The heists are almost non-stop adrenaline-filled fun. The mission where Franklin and Trevor meet is short but entertaining. The mission where Trevor goes on a rampage and kills the O'Neill brothers. The one where you chase down a jet and it's falling out of the sky. The one where Franklin, Lamar, and Trevor fight their way through Grove Street after a drug deal goes wrong. There are so many amazing missions that just show how far GTA has come over its many years of existence. GTA 5 also has to have some of the worst missions in the entire series history. The one where you go do yoga is slow and boring. Why is it here? Anything with the fucking submarine sucks. I hate it. I hate how it controls. It's slow and it puts me to sleep. The mission where Franklin has to tow cars. The infamous torture mission that I really only hate because I just don't find it interesting. I don't get offended by it. I don't flinch at it. I'm just bored of it. And the fucking mission where you play as Trevor and need to use these big ass cranes. Holy shit, it is so boring. I blanked out while playing this and I crashed and I had to do it all over again and I fucking hate it. And it stains the game severely because anytime I think about playing this game over again for the fun, for the story, for the lulz, I think about this mission and it just stops me completely from playing it. I hate it. At the end of the day, I love GTA 5. I've put easily hundreds upon hundreds of hours into it since it first came out, and I'll probably put in even more hundreds of hours into its online mode in the foreseeable future. But while the gameplay is at its best and the voice acting is at its most perfect, and the missions can be at their most fun, GTA 5 is still a deeply flawed experience. So much so that I can't see myself ever wanting to go back and play the story again, as much as I love the characters and the world. But that online mode though. GTA Online is fun, but I personally only think it's fun when you're playing with friends. I feel the best way to show off GTA Online isn't to talk about it, but just to kind of show it off. So please, enjoy.
What's that cop?
No balls.
Hey, yo, I don't feel safe. Easy fucking shit, bro. Alright, where's the ladder? Where's the ladder?
Easy
ladder.
You guys are all walking around just ladder. Where's the ladder?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bernadette, honey, I know you can hear us. Get your ass to the plane.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
That's disturbing as fuck, dude.
But it is what Jose is saying technically is true. You do get bigger boobs while you're pregnant because
Yeah.
Alright, 1, 2, 3.
These are even the loudest fucking guns, dude.
Sniper, bro. You're a fucking idiot.
You're using an automatic weapon.
Like 7,000.
fucking using it too.
Why you gotta expose you haven't even shot anybody?
Because a sniper, you fucking retard.
I'm not shooting anyone. I'm just fucking standing here.
See?
Nah, bro. She wants to blame it on Oscar because he's gay.
Bro, you scared the shit out of me. I didn't even know you were black.
What the? Oh my god.
Bro, I'm gonna date an emo chick. To all the emo chicks out there, I'm single. And I'm gonna be 20 this year.
Jose, I mean, Erwin, you have to include your audio.
I'm including my audio. My audio's been included. What the fuck you mean?
Wow, so aggressive. Like an emo chick's gonna want to date aggressive. You hear that, emo chicks? If you want a ticket to Pound Town and not the good kind, the kind with a fist in his face, it was right there.
I was gonna say what color is
honestly
good for you.
Wait. Right, hear me out. The other day I was on Twitter, right?
Are you gonna justify beating women right now?
No, I'm not. No, what the fuck?
I just.
Oh no, I was on Twitter, right? Worst place on fucking earth. I just see one girl be like, abortion rights thing, and she's like, these girls on Twitter are breeding kink, and I'm like, what in the fuck? Oh,
okay.
Wow, bro.
Okay, so guys, no one else dies. Oh.
Bro. So you drinking pussy shit and you're drunk?
No, it actually has more alcohol than beer, actually.
Actually, my girlfriend bought this for me.
Oh my god, my girlfriend.
That's what you sound like, Joe's Bernadette, every time you talk.
You guys want to play Apex?
I'm gonna fucking
Like a little sprinkler in her bed. You hear her mom in the background.
Oh, this is for you.
Oh my!
Just imagine being the fucking fire.
Alright, ready? Go home.
I'm sorry.
Oh wait, no!
That's why.
Oh shit! Oh my god, what the fuck? Alright, bro, I'm calling in the Valkyrie.
What is wrong with you? Oh my god, please let me get up. Ah!
What the fuck? Go. Yeah,
I love
right.
that.
That's right.
I love when fucking Oscar doesn't talk. It's my favorite. Or gender session.
Yeah, bro. He's the one streaming and we're the one producing the content.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you guys were gonna produce mediocre content. That's why.
Wow.
Whoa! Okay, what? Yo!
The aiming is actually worse than the original games, in my opinion.
Colors are so vivid, like...
From what we got, it's just a goddamn travesty.
This isn't a remaster. It's a shitmaster. I want my fucking money back.
They've done really well with this.
People say the new character models look like Sims, and yeah, they kinda do.
Oh man, I'm so hyped to play this. It's gonna bring back all my childhood memories.
So it's like they've literally just put an overlay of rain across the screen that follows you wherever you go.
The lighting effects. The lighting's been super improved. Textures look sharper as well.